All right, guys, Sam back with you one last time today here. So again, as we are looking at traditional assets here, the third one up by request amongst the membership was a look at Ford Motors. I like to mix in some equities since we don't look at them as often. I don't trade a lot of equities, but I certainly have a lot of members that do. I just like to show you that it's just to kind of reiterate and re-emphasize the point that the underlying asset, no matter how we approach it, it doesn't matter. Right? It's all the same, all trade the same way. So this is a weekly chart. So when you're looking at equities, much like I would tell you with foreign exchange, you want to look long term. So on equities, I'll look daily and weekly, 3-day as well. I want to look at those longer term trends and see what it looks like. So I'm going here. Here's the 2009 low. Would we get to $1 in Ford? It's pretty amazing. So let's put this back here. So, all right, is there a clear Elliott count here? Well, I do have a count on this coming down. This is a bit of a judgment call here. Is that this we have this push to a new higher. This looks more to me like so you've got 5 coming down here. So this is either this is a truncated fifth here, or it's so you can clearly see we get this, right? But we're not getting much traction in the fifth, and this coming back the other way, it almost looks like you do the same thing. It looks like you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to get that. So you've got 5 followed by 5. All right, so yeah, it's a tricky one, right? So when you look here, all right, is that really helping me? Because I can't be definitive. Like this 5 down here is pretty solid. 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, and the 4. I'm going to guess that this 2 to the 4 is technical. So there's my 3. Here's the 50. Hovering at the 50, we don't make target. So it's a little problematic here. Now this is not an ideal 1, 2, 3. Let's just checking here to see how 1 relates to. Well, oops, wrong one. 1 relates to 3. It looks like you might have the extension in the 1. Nope, it doesn't. All right, so 3 longer. So you've got a contender here is 3, 4, and 5, and then I would same kind of thing. Now, if this is my 2, I've got a shallow 2. Yeah, it's amazing. You say, well, this stuff, yeah, it's fine on the 1 hour and the 15-minute and the daily, but certainly not going to find this kind of technical precision on the weekly. 618 to the tick. Now, what's interesting is we don't make the target. All right, and before it falls over. So, sign of weakness that we can't make that target, which kind of makes me think that this may be a fifth of its own. It's a tough call, right? So, this could be. I suppose we can get a B wave out of that. I don't like either way. So it's not doing a lot to help me because I don't have a lot of confidence in either count. Now, coming down, or whether this is we've got a B here and we're coming down into a C. Well, I can certainly go from swing low to swing high, and look where we are, right? We just come up to the 618 here. We're a little shy of it. So I know that if this is going to continue, the potential here is that I've got a 4 and a 5 coming down here, so I might come up here and then push back down for a 5 to complete this. So let me raise this degree so you can see it. So I think there's a good chance here we've got, let's go to that. We've got it, so it would be here. So this would be from the pivot, we've got an A. I've got to have a truncated fifth because of this spike down bar that we have. A, B, C would be here. Right? That would be the extreme. Now we could, that's ambitious for that. Shit. You get the idea. That's ambitious for that C. So let me pull this off and think about where we could be going. If this is the A and the B, let's look at that. From my pivot here down to my proposed A low, well, here's the Vegas wave. We're not quite making the 50. We're to target. And then you could say, well, wait a minute. What about this pivot? Well, all right, so an algo more likely to use, because an algo doesn't care about an Elliott count, but note what happens here. If I use the lower pivot, I come to the 50 to the tick, and here's target. All right, so what did they use? Looks like they used the extreme pivot here, but from an Elliott count, it looks more like I've got 1, 2. This is the big 3. This is likely an earnings, something happened there, some earnings-related report. Remember, this is a weekly bar. We get this big reaction here, and then we roll over again. So I'm inclined to count that as 3, 4, and I'm allowing for the 5 because the body of this candle is up here. We've got this we've got a fairly long wick here, but I don't see another clean way to count that. So there's 5 into an A wave here, even though we're using the dominant pivot here, because that looks like that's what the algos use. From an Elliott count, I think we're more likely here to have a diagonal into the A with a truncated fifth. Yeah, I know, my Elliott purists, right? You spare me the comments. I know it's not typical. If you've got a better count, then have at it. But here, ABC into a B, and it looks like I've gone 1. I've got another diagonal into the 1, a leading diagonal into my 1. So if I look here, if this is the B high, and I've got my 1 in, that's my low. Well, we've gone 786 to the tick. Remember, I'm on a weekly chart. So there's 786 to the tick, right? And then we've started down. Now this is, well, look here. So we've gone 786. We've gone to the second target here and had this reaction. So, it's a little tricky here, right? So is that the 3? Well, this is a classic ABC, so you would anticipate that we're going to overlap the 1 on the retracement. Remember, in the 4, we're looking in a diagonal. If this is going to overlap, we're looking for a relationship between the start of the 1, which is here at the pivot B, through the pivot of the 3rd. So if we're going to get through it, ideally you'd find it at the 50. So if we're going to come back here, we're going to have to just get through that. We only have to get through by a couple of ticks to qualify it as a diagonal. So we'd be playing as an ending diagonal here in the C wave of this larger correction. Now, a couple of things we can do additionally, right? So there's a fairly obvious channel that's in play here. So if I pull from this, and then I would use this 5 here. All right, so you're going to have to play with this here, right? Again, because of this is all wick, I would be inclined to pull it here. So if we're going down again, that's the channel I would start with, connecting the two extreme pivots here to give me so think of it as a trend line, right? So it's a question of where is this, what pivot are we going to use here? If we continue to go lower, right, we'll adjust that. So that looks to me like what's teeing up here is now 1 more push down. So we'd be coming this way back for the 4. We'd overlap the 1 up for the 4 and then bring us down for the 5. And that would complete the C. Now put that in context. Where would that put us? If we look at the dominant swing from swing high to swing low. Right, well that would pull, here's the golden zone. That would put us just beyond the golden zone if I'm going to use the truncated fifth here. All right, let's never get that right on there. I'm right on there. Well, now we're cutting it a little more closely. Right, well, we're going to get through the golden zone. There's the algo target just on the other side of the 65, right? So if it's going to follow this, and we don't know, it's hypothetical here, but if this retracement sets up the 4 to the 5 to finish the C, kind of definitely an area of interest here. Now, it doesn't have to get to that target, but the hot box here would be an area of interest. So I would just pivot. So a break of the 3rd, I'd want an alert to let me know about that. So, yeah, so as far as I see it here, the next trade is on the short side. I would not be an advocate of taking that short. I would let that play out. But I like the idea of being a buyer here. I like the buy more than the sell. As I look at that, because it looks like all we're doing is completing a correction here. This looks much more corrective with all this volatility than it does that we've started a whole new downtrend. I mean, we'd be buying here at $7 in forward, right? The crisis low was at $1. All right, so I like it more on the buy side here than I do the sell side. Now, that's what I see here in terms of setting up as a potential entry here. I'd be looking maybe right at the 618. You're going to have huge upside targets where I'd get on the other side of the algo target there, so you can give that a little more room. We know we've got a target way the hell up here. So what's that? 14.5 to 1. Hard not to like that, right? So that. I certainly like the buy side more than the sell side, put it that way, right? It's compared to what's here in this 4 to the 5 to come to the golden zone. So that's what I see happening there. Now, additionally here, I thought this might be worthwhile as I'm trying to help any of you that are just look at that Elliott count and go, what the fuck? It's craziness, right? So how do I deal with that? All right, so let's pull out of that. Let's remove all drawing tools. What else could we do? So as I have been working me through this range expansion technique, right? So sort of brought it into play because of the range action that we're having in crypto, but it's just as effective here. So first thing we got to do is get our wolf range on. So And I do this partly just to show you guys. So this is an alternate way to approach the market. So we're looking at range expansion. So I know what you're thinking, like, okay, well, that was all fine on the 15-minute. It was good on the 1 hour. It's good on the day. Oh, yeah, you showed me on the daily. But it's not going to be there on the weekly. Come on, man. Let's be serious. Right, well, here's the first swing low. Right, here's the 50. Here's the reaction. So this is often a tell when we get a reaction at the minus 50. So here's the range. Here's the 100. Right, just simple range expansion. So then you think, oh, if I got a range, well, we can get a GAN box on there. So let's lock the scale. So this looks pretty interesting. So I'm going to come down here to my first arc, right? My first squaring of price and time. Coincidence? Right there, you know, that certain people will tell you, oh, come on, man, you put enough lines on that, you're going to hit something somewhere. You know, approach the market with that thinking at your own peril. I tell you, those are not random events, right? Weekly, right? We're on the weekly chart. Swing high, swing low. What's the 100% expansion? It's all damn near to the tick. It's within pennies. It's within 10 cents. Right? Here's my 45-degree line. Right? Here's the square. Here's the squaring of price and time. There's the square. There's the cut right on the angle. Where do we end up? Now, is that the low? You know, we don't know, right? But it certainly is a point of interest, right? It certainly doesn't surprise me terribly that we get a reaction at 100% of the range. So, you know, pick your poison. How do you want to approach the market? You don't want to get into all that all that Elliott. Here's a simple alternative, right? Very simple, very straightforward, right? Very effective. All right, guys, so I'll wrap here just to let you know we've got some good promotions running right now, some discounts, trials, some things that you can take advantage of if you've been curious and tempted to try us. So that will be, we'll have some links on our Twitter page on that pinned tweet that's at the top. There should be some links under this video as well. If not, if you're curious and wondering what kind of promos or anything we're offering, you can always just write us. We respond to everything. You can DM us on Twitter. You can write us an email. You can comment in underneath the YouTube videos. Lots of ways to respond. We see everything. We don't necessarily respond to everything, but we see everything. Right? If you have a legitimate comment or question, if you just want to, you know, hate flame it and like, your count sucked, you suck. You know, I get plenty of that. All right? There's always going to be some of that. You know, here I just let the chart do the talking. Right, you can choose to agree, disagree, but if you've got something interesting, we'll always look at that. You just want to be a hater, we'll probably delete your comment anyway. Okay, guys, that'll give you some choices here. Again, check us out on Twitter if you want to look for those links. There's some good discounts we're offering. All right, see you later.